think we're here. Test, test, test. Hello, hello, hello. All right, we are on.
Awesome. Yeah, I just got the notification.
Sweet. Cool. So, hello, everybody. Heather here, and I'm joined by Carissa Ortega, my accountability partner. Today, we are going to live stream Empowered Entrepreneurs, our weekly accountability session. And yeah, we basically do this every Friday around this time. And yeah, so what's up, Carissa? How's everything?
Pretty good. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie, not pretty good, but okay. It's I think the going theme for like this month is it's okay. It's not bad, but it's not super great either, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, exactly. I think we just come to a point where, you know that like I don't know, you're just ready you try to brace yourself for the worst and just hope for the best. You know that saying? That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, no, I get it. So for me, my big thing really for this week and today is that my business plan is due at 5 p.m. today, which I'm still finishing for the Coachella Valley Women's Business Center for their It's Your Time program, which has been amazing. I think this program, the 12-week program, is definitely something that I'm going to remember looking back, because everything I learned, just the timing of it all and the people that I met and stuff like that. So it's been instrumental. I'm also just so glad it's going to be done, because, it's like night classes 2-3 times a week. And it just was a lot to like complete the whole thing. So it's going to be crazy not to have this and just have all that extra time. But yeah, so just finishing up my business plan. And in terms of my 12-week year, which was something like I was super excited about. I mean, I still am. I've failed every week so far. This is the second week. I haven't met like all of the goals, but I still stand by the system because the system accounts for like, even if you only did like 85% of your goals, you're still going to do like way better than not having any system at all. So it's definitely helped me to prioritize. And then, combining that with my business plan, it's just like really allowed me to be super narrow focused as I'm like wrapping up 2018 and getting ready for 2019. So yeah, excited.
I just want to say that like an observation just from our normal meetings and stuff. Oh, by the way, I am sick. Well, I'm not sick. I just have a really bad allergy attack this week because of the air quality, I think. And so if you see me like putting Kleenex to my nose and I sound really stuffed up, that is why. The air quality here is just messing with my sinuses and my allergies and everything. So it has been a struggle just to feel like working. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, one thing that I've observed from you is just how down you get on yourself when you don't accomplish all your goals, and how just by like the last few weeks and after you reading the 12-week year, I think it has really put that idea of done is better than perfect perspective. And I like the fact that you were like, I failed every week so far and it's only been 2 weeks, but but on the bright side, it has helped me to do this. And it's given you a little bit of space for yourself, and like it's let you like kind of forgive yourself for not hitting all the goals. Because I think one thing to be said is, because we're goal-oriented people, sometimes we put too many goals on there and it's just not realistic to even finish. And we would get really, really down on ourselves for not accomplishing that entire list. But ever since you've read that book, I've seen that you've just kind of been like, but I did do this, I did learn this, and I want to focus on that versus focusing on the fact that I didn't do everything I said I was going to do.
Yeah. And yes, and I really appreciate you saying that because, this is one of those things that is like, monumental progress that is kind of immeasurable, because success and for entrepreneurship is just measured by the amount of dollars that you get, which, yeah, I'm positive this month compared to most months, but like you said, just the fact that, I can acknowledge not hitting goals and be okay with it is like crazy. It's crazy. And I think it takes the stress out of it. You know what I mean? Like I just see everything so much different. It's kind of like what you said, done is better than perfect. Perfect. I've just really wrapped my head around that. I'm cool with just no perfection. And I think, as soon as I accepted that and went back out into the world, meeting other business people, meeting other creators even, and just having this new outlook and seeing how everyone else runs their business or prioritizes or seeing, what other people post on YouTube and social media, I'm just like, even like my half-assed is better, like straight up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think being that type A to us, 50% is, a lot of times not good enough, but there are people out there that do have that mentality of like, at least I did it. At least it's out there. Even if that doesn't mean that it's how I want it to be. Our standard for ourselves is held a little bit higher. And because of that, like when you see what not necessarily the competition is, but fellow entrepreneurs are doing, you're like, oh, okay, I'm not that bad. Like I'm fine. Yeah, I'm
exactly.
okay.
And not that it's a competition, I'm not saying like I'm doing it better than, the other person, so I'm okay. It's just more like, I don't know. It's just more of like, it's not something I need to spend energy worrying about. So, so yeah, like one example is I went to this business expo yesterday at it was put on by the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce. I think it's like one of the only business expos like throughout the year. It's presented by the city of Indio, and there's a ton of businesses there. And of course, like I was the only YouTuber content creator there. And anyone who was remotely close to what I do was this like, had like, it was funny. We would always joke around because I went with Tom and our friend Roland. But we would pass by like one of these digital marketing booths, and I knew what it was, but nothing about their like setups conveyed what they did. So, I don't know. It just made me like, I have nothing to worry about. Like, what am I? Not that there, and obviously there's room for everybody. I'm not saying like, there's a winner or a loser or anything.
Right. Yeah.
I'm also like, dude, even if I posted my goals daily, but even if I did it 3 times a week, doing what I do best, like not having to, what's going to, strategically thinking like what's going to have the maximum impact and then spending 2 hours creating one clip because that's what I think is the best versus, hey, freaking make a clip, take 5 minutes and make a clip, any clip, and post that is still going to be better and more authentic and, be more effective than what they can do. So
yeah, I agree. And I think going back to what you said about it not necessarily being a competition, I think also that competition is just within our own minds. Like we're always our own worst critic. You're not even really comparing yourself, or others aren't comparing you, like, the customer at least isn't kind of looking at that. I think nowadays it's more about who resonates with who and who can like create that bond compared to like when it comes down to quality or price. It's more about style and it's more about preference than anything else. But I think too that just being so critical on ourselves will always hinder us more than it will better us. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like I think that's been the running theme the past few weeks is like just recognizing that, acknowledging that, not getting over it, but not letting it like be in my way.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my
So
big.
where are you at in your business plan now? I know you said it's due at 5. So like,
Oh my God. I am so proud of this thing. Like I want to do a whole vlog on it, which, you know, is weird because I know it's like putting my business plan out there, but I'm just, you know, even if someone were to copy it and do it, it's not going to be done the way that I'm going to do it. So I'm not worried, but I'm just so freaking proud of like the research I've done. And like, it really is you know, like a checkpoint of how much have you learned? Let's put all your experience and all your expertise into a 15, 20 page paper, you know, and see how it holds up. So it was so hard to do this, but also I'm really proud of it. So I have, let's see, I finished the description of business. I finished my industry analysis. I am currently on the marketing plan. After that, I have to do the operations plan, the organization plan. I have to kind of like tweak my financials and then I'm done. Most of that is done. I just have to like edit.
yeah.
The hard part is the marketing plan because that's just the whole thing. Basically, that's like, you know, the services you're going to provide, who are you going to sell them to, how are you going to sell them, stuff like that.
Right.
That's been the hard part because it's like I also have to put it in perspective of like, okay, you know, what are my goals and then like what's the goal of this program, because you know they're just trying to help me get like be a viable business and I'm trying to change the world. So like sorry, I just got a text. I don't need to put the whole like for the first time in human history, digital media and this whole huge thing. I just need to like, yo, what's the service and who you selling to? How to like rein that in a little bit. But you know, even for like my communication and how I explain what I do, because I did this research, has really allowed me to hone in on like the keywords I need to say. It's really cool. I'm gonna send it to you. So I'd love for you to read it.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like I said, I think a few weeks ago, I am such a nerd for business plans. And I don't think there's any reason why you shouldn't blog about or vlog about it and share it, because that's the whole point of a business plan. It should be just like if someone's like, so what's your plan? What's your business plan? You're like, here, let me send you my 15 to 20 page attachment and tell you exactly what my goals are. That's the whole point. You know, why create it if you're not going to put it out there and share it? That's what these documents are for information for other people and for you, because this is forcing you to like figure these things out that you weren't necessarily thinking about, but it's also to inform, I mean, it's to inform people about what your plan is. So I think doing a vlog is so needed. It's part of your journey and it should be part of every entrepreneur's journey. You know, like this has to, I mean, the first question I asked you when you called me and was like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a business. I was like, great. Do you have a business plan? And you're like, no, but I have this idea.
What's that? Yeah, no, you're right. And this is like segueing a little bit. We don't have to get too much into it. But I think my instinct is obviously document it. Like obviously put it out there. Duh. Like why wouldn't you? You know, it's not even just a part of the journey, it is the journey, right? So talk about that. And you're right, I will. But I think being in the thick of the Women's Business Center program and starting to realize just how small and tight knitted the Coachella Valley is starting to it's just starting to sink in with me, because in like a really funny way where I'm trying to see how I can explain this. Where I think that, you know, if you've been doing business in the Coachella Valley, you know everybody. It's so small here. Like I'm confident. I think there's more people in the city of Long Beach than in the entire Coachella Valley. The entire thing, Indio, Palm Springs, Palm Desert, all of it. So, you know, meeting everybody was never something I ever thought I would have to worry about. Here, though, it's like I'm starting to feel that like this is our territory and we do business with the people we've done business with. I'm starting to feel it a little bit. Not that it's something I need to worry about.
Yeah.
But I think that's where I'm starting to feel like, oh, should I put it out there? I don't know. It's interesting. But anyway.
That being said, I wanted to, the fact that you said that is something that I've really observed about you, because knowing you and like just where you've lived and where you previously have chosen to kind of like put yourself geographically is like completely opposite of where you're living now, you know? So these observations that you have, I think because I'm still here in the valley, you know, like this is where I live. I could see myself possibly moving elsewhere, but when it comes down to it, you know, this is my home. This is like, no matter what, I'm going to have some kind of base planted here forever. And once you kind of moved on and you graduated and you were like trying to transplant yourself, I could see this like adjustment that you're making to like living that not necessarily smaller town life, but to simplify the big scheme of it. Yeah, like adjusting back to living in a smaller community, kind of knowing almost everybody, and you being like, I could easily see you being that X factor in that area when it comes to entrepreneurship, because I think one thing that always scared me as an entrepreneur here in the Valley is that same mentality that you're talking about, where everyone does business with certain people, you know, like they have their ways. And when you're in a smaller community, that's probably not necessarily a good thing for a newcomer, obviously, because they're set in their ways and they know who they like and they know who they work with. And this new thing is coming along and they're like, whoa, what's that? What's that? I'm interested, but I'm also kind of like gonna like kind of observe it first before I like want to jump into it. But I see how some of the people in your community are really embracing it. And I think that's going to really help you with kind of where you are, you know?
Yeah, it's so, oh my gosh, I can go on and on about this. I am going to do a vlog on it, but basically, like, you're so right about, I've never in my entire life, have I been at a point where I was ready to plant roots and just be like, this is it. Like, I have a house, you know, I've never ever had that. And even moving here, I didn't think that, you know, I didn't know to think that, because like, I've never been in this, like, this is it forever situation. So, you know, that's been new, but also because, you know, not to diss the people here, but I have clients that I'll never meet. You know, a lot of my clients, a lot of my subscribers, a lot of the people, and even you, it's like you're far enough where I would put you in this category. It's like a lot of people that I interact with, transact with, engage with are not in the Coachella Valley. So, you know, the local competition is not even something I thought about at all. And I think now this is going to be real interesting. I think things are going to get real spicy for the people in the Coachella Valley who start to follow me, because now this is like, I'm not a stranger. I'm part of the community.
Right.
But just to be real, I think it scares some people. Like, I've straight up met people that have spent hours telling me how amazing they are, and basically like, almost like establishing like, you will never compare to me.
Yeah.
And it's just been so fascinating, because in the world of digital content creation, there is no competition. There's this camaraderie and respect that we have, because it's us versus everyone else that doesn't understand YouTube, that doesn't understand, this world of content creation and whole, speaking to a camera like it's your audience and all this, and then to come here and then meet people that are like, hold up, you're in my turf, has been so like, I can't help but like, oh, go, it's your turf. I'm not trying to like, claim anything, because 90% of my audience is still global,
Yeah.
It's been really interesting. So interesting.
Yeah, I think that, remember that one speaking engagement I had that I told you I was really like nervous about, because it was a community that I felt like a little negativity from. And
was it that one chamber?
Yes.
I never followed up with you on, did you end up doing it?
I did.
You never talked about it.
Okay. Oh, I never talked. Okay. Oh my gosh. So I could totally resonate with what you're feeling, because one thing that I have always felt was inadequate as an entrepreneur, because I started my journey and I started my business at such a young age, that this looming feeling of feeling green and inexperienced has carried along with me for years, until maybe like last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like more than 10 years of my life feeling green as an entrepreneur. Yet I had already been an entrepreneur for 10 years. But It's because there are people out there that feel threatened and feel competition because, competition can fuel people in a positive way.
Yeah.
We can all have, like, for example, now I've created this community with people that also own restaurants, people that also own Filipino restaurants, and we go to each other's places, not to scope out what they're doing, but to genuinely go because we enjoy their craft and we appreciate their creativity and their interpretation. And it's not just to quote unquote support you, but it's because we want to, as just a customer. We're just people, and back in the day when I first started out, I was very threatened by similar people that would kind of just talk to me to like interrogate me, or to tell me about what they're doing, to make me almost feel, or make me feel inadequate or inexperienced or green, and one thing that I do have to say is the thing that has taken me out of it, that I'm glad that you're not really struggling with, like, you're confident enough in yourself and to know that like your goal is way beyond them, for a lot of people that think old school. And like, if you're watching this, one thing you have to remember now is like Gary Vee posted a video about it like years ago, where it's, we have phones, like we have phones at our fingertips. And if you're not using this to grow your business on a global scale, or it's not at least in the plan to do, then you're going to lose. If you're only thinking locally in the grand scheme of things, you're just not going to work. It's not going to be a long-term viable business. Of course, you got to start somewhere. And if that means starting in your local community, then great. Like that's a great place to start. No problem. But you've got to think bigger. You've got to scale bigger than just what you know. You've got to be like brave enough to like branch outside of like your 10-mile radius or whatever it is.
Right. And I think because shoot, I didn't know any better. So when I started, I literally did it the opposite. Like I didn't tell anybody about my YouTube channel for months. You know, I didn't want people finding my stupid YouTube videos. Like I was going for randos, like YouTube world, not people that I grew up with. Like I didn't care whether I didn't want them to follow me, you know?
Yeah,
And
I'm the same way.
exactly. And then, even, clients is a different story, but, with the online course, that's not, most of the people who've enrolled are people that I'm not going to meet. They're outside of, my physical ability to meet with them. And so this idea of just like, this is your turf, like physically, is something where I'm like, but that's not okay. Like that's not something I'm worried about, like, oh man, it's just funny. I think, one thing, and we've talked about this before, I really appreciate the digital content new media industry because because of that like camaraderie of, hey, I can support someone literally in another country or on the other side of the US, whatever. I love that. But this like, and it might be because the Coachella Valley is so small that it's like extreme here. But there's this, I'm starting to really feel this idea of like, in order for there to be a winner, there has to be a loser. I don't play that way.
Right.
To me, you are a winner. The more people, like the more winners there are.
Yep.
Like someone doesn't have to lose in order for you to win.
Yes.
But here it's like, it's like people literally exercising to my face that they are the winner.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, I'm not even playing your game, man.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Because maybe again, I don't mean to say this in a way that puts other people down, but I think it's because, for one, it's just they're threatened by it. They're threatened by you. They're threatened by your idea because you're shaking things up. So that's one. It's obvious, obviously. It's a no-brainer. The other thing though is like, I think it's because their mindset is, and I don't want to say this in a way that's like demeaning, but it's old school. It's the way that people used to think. It's the way that I love my parents and my mom for giving me that entrepreneurial spirit, but it's exactly how she thought too. There was no like target market. There was no demographic. There was no like audience. Everyone is your audience. And that just doesn't work nowadays, and I think that the new era of entrepreneurs that get it are the ones that are going to succeed, because now, like I said, everything is digital. Most of the people, and I wrote a blog post about this, but the headline was, your friends and family are not your target market.
Yes, dude.
It's not. Like, they are not, because why? They might not even care about what you sell. So you gotta,
straight up, dude. I wish you could have been in like one of these conversations, because this is multiple people now, which is why I'm talking about it, because I don't want, one of these people that I'm referring to watch this and think it was about them. So I'm like, there's been enough people where I'm like, this is a pattern, and maybe it's a Coachella Valley thing, but
nope.
Like I had someone tell me, I check with my friends to see if they liked my video. And I'm thinking like, I would never expect anybody except Tom. He's the only single person who is required to watch every single one of my videos. And that's not even a requirement. He'll do it by choice. It's the same thing for me. But like, even with you, like I would never, it's just like you're not going to expect me to buy every single one of your things. Like,
right.
I'm not going to expect you to watch all of the effing content I put out there. Like, are you kidding?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, never. If you do it, you do it. But like, I just can't. I can't believe that was a thought to somebody,
And people don't get it because they think, because the old, and it bugs me that I say it like this, but the old way of thinking was, okay, you want to start a business, who are you going to market to? Immediately, the original answer would be friends and family, because it starts with your sphere of influence, right? And your sphere of influence is friends and family. But really, no, that's not the case. Like, if they buy something, it might be out of guilt or like pity or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yes. But honestly, it's not who actually needs you. It's not who actually will want to purchase from you every time. There might be some friends and family that do, but it's not going to be all of them. It's not going to be everyone. And it just gets batched into that like old way of entrepreneurship where that doesn't work anymore, because now there's social media. It's the new word of mouth, where like it's not just friends and family that is telling people about your stuff, but it's whoever you can tap into when you post.
Yeah.
And that is like people from the other side of the world, people from next door too. Like it's this huge spectrum of people now. And you have to obviously you have to dial down on who you want to reach and who you're talking to and everything. But that gets batched into the old school way of thinking, just like what you were saying with there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. Everybody can win. There's enough room for everyone.
I know.
Because
and
we're global now. We're on a global scale.
Speaking of global, straight up, Anurag Bujbal in the chat is from India, and I'll tell you right now, Steven is from the UK. And Seven Blessings says, "True, we told our family, but never forced them to watch," is in Florida. So There you go. Like, everyone who's in, and that's why it never crossed my mind. And I'm so glad that you recognize this like confidence, because if I didn't have it, I would have been done.
Yeah.
Totally. Because let me tell you, they've all been dudes. And they were, if it weren't for my journey so far, I would have definitely cringed and just like, doubted and the whole thing. I could definitely see, because they're so established here, very successful in what they do here. And there's a reason for that, because they've established their dominance and stuff like that. But I'm also like, yo, dude, this is not my target market. So if you want to be the king here, more power to you. But, I'm going to keep doing my thing.
Yeah.
That's so strange. It's funny. But anyway, I thought you would get a kick out of that. I'll tell you more about it, because you'd get a kick out of it. But I don't want to like offend anybody.
Right.
It just makes me sad. It makes me sad. Like, I wish that instead of, in these conversations I've had, instead of them establishing their like cred, I wish it could have been, how can we work together? Like, how can we collab? How can, what can I feature you on my channel? Can you feature me on yours? Like, what can we create together? Which is always how it's been at VidCon, at like, and any kind of like, even at WeWork, it's always been this very creative, collaborative atmosphere. Here, for the most part, it has been. And, I think I'm lucky in that this community has, like you said, it's the X factor. It's like shaking things up. Everyone's kind of recognizing like, this is a new thing. What is this? So it's, regardless of whether I've been here or not, it's still new. But I don't know. It's just funny. It's so funny.
Yeah. I think, when we went to, that speaking engagement that I had, I never told you about it. I can't
thought
believe
it didn't
I didn't.
happen. I thought I didn't ask because I was like, oh, maybe she was too nervous, so she didn't do it. Like straight up, that's what I thought.
No, I went. I can't believe I didn't tell you about it. But it was very interesting, to say the least. I felt the way that you felt about the people that you've interacted with, same exact thing. There was a very much so like a divide with who was in the audience and who was speaking. It was very interesting to me that they had like a younger generation of entrepreneurs being part of the panel, because the people in the audience were not remotely close to our age.
Oh, wow.
There was maybe like one person in the audience that was closer to our age. But the rest were entrepreneurs that were more seasoned, that were more experienced, that have had businesses and have been in businesses for, have owned businesses for a long time. And it was just, you could see that. I'll just say, and we can go more into it if people are really curious at another time, but it was very apparent to me and to my colleagues, because we're all friends, like the five of us that were, most of us are like actually pretty like tightly knit, and there was an apparent divide on just approach, viewpoint on competition and everything. It was just, yeah, very, very different.
So I'm curious because like my experience so far has been, for everyone I've met or spoken to or done classes with, there's usually two reactions. One is, I get that this is the thing and this is the new way, but I'm so far removed that I'm not going to try. And then there's the other one that's like, okay, I see it, but how do I approach this gap? Do I pay somebody? Do I learn it? They're not ready to have a buying decision because they don't know what to do. That's what I've been. I haven't met anybody who's just been like, no.
Yes, I agree. I think there are a lot of people that are curious about it. That curiosity has definitely pushed them into those two categories. I have to agree with that. A lot of people are thinking that, and I wrote a blog post about this, a lot of people have the misconception that, if millennials have the new buying power, then they have to switch their target from whatever it currently is to millennials. So they have to think that they have to adapt in a way that will completely change their business plan because they're so unfamiliar. And then there's the other group that's like, okay, so what do I have to do? They just can't wrap their head around it, period. And in both scenarios, they're wrong. Like, just because millennials have buying power, and that's what the statistics say, it doesn't mean that if your target market is baby boomers, you don't need to change your target market. That's not the goal. The goal is to figure out how to use new media to reach them and figure out where they are and put your dollars that way. And then there's the others that are like, okay, but what do I do? How does this affect me? They don't even know the first step. Some people may even feel intimidated by the ones that do get it, because they don't get it. I've seen a lot of that, which is what I experienced at the panel. They were like, well, one common question that I got, or that we got as a group in that panel, was, well, for the ones that are older and old school that run their restaurants the old way, how are they supposed to keep up? And I mean, there's so many ways to answer that one person can't just say, oh, well, do this, and that. There's so many layers that you have to unfold to really figure that out. And I think that's one thing that old entrepreneur thought process cannot get. I think that you just have to adapt in a way that doesn't make sense. to make your business work or continue to thrive. And that's not the case. You know, it's
yeah, because even it's not that, you know, we're saying, and that's why we're always like treading lightly and trying to be careful with like, you know, new is right and old is wrong. It's just that like, you know, me being a relatively green, I don't understand the old way because it's just not the world that is. You know, like I could see how that would have worked in a world without digital media. You go buy billboards and newspapers and like you literally physically are the only thing that people see because you can control that. You literally can, you know, every billboard that my target market drives by, like I want it. And there's a cap. It's not limitless. And like, you know, or social media, it's like, Jesus, you know, the sky's the limit. You could daily vlog, you can post every day, twice a day, 3 times a day, boosted post, blah, blah, blah. There's no one way to do it.
right.
So it's just interesting. It's just interesting.
Yeah, it's one thing that I do remember when walking away from it was one, there's this like really clear divide between I don't know if it's age groups or just approach, you know, entrepreneurial strategy and approach. There's this huge divide, and I think the other thing that I observed was that for one, people are very intimidated by the idea of social media because they don't know what to do with it if they're not constantly using it. And people think that the way that you use social media for personal use is the same as using it for business use. There's that misconception that I have observed. And then the other thing that I observed was the people that don't get it also expect the ones that do to fix the problem. Which is
I get it. I can see that.
Which is not, I mean, we can't do, I can't do that for you, you know, because like you said, there's so many answers to one question and there's so many ways to do things. You have to like really go into it. It's not just like saying, oh, okay, create a business page on Facebook and then go. And then like tomorrow, yeah, it's like they think that by creating that Facebook page tomorrow, they're going to see the result. They're going to see the influx of sales and like there's going to be change the next day. We know that it's just like any marketing plan. There has to be strategy. There has to be a plan put in place. You have to give it time. You have to observe the buying patterns of whoever you're targeting out there. And you have to figure out a strategy. Like you have to plan it out. You can't just like say, oh, okay, I created the page. Friends and family go like it. And then the magic is going to happen. That's just not how it works.
Well, that's what I was saying. Cause I was like, I just was like, okay, so if your goal is to capture everybody in the Coachella Valley, you are literally limiting yourself. Like, I couldn't believe it. I can't believe that is success to somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I would never, obviously, you know, for my services, you know, where I actually need to be in their office and recording them, that's a different story. But, you know, if you have something like a blog or a vlog or an online course or something where anybody who has internet access can, you know, join in, why would you limit yourself to a 15-mile radius? I don't get that. It's
exactly
so strange to me. And then, like, you know, going off of what you said, the thing with digital media marketing is that you have to be willing to fail because there's no, you know, what works for somebody else is not necessarily going to work for you. And that is, you know, this coming out of a recession, you know, I get that maybe the old school way of doing business is like, that's definitely not something that is worth investing the risk into. So I'm just going to wait and see.
And I think one thing that's worth saying as well is a lot of people make that excuse of like, well, you know, Heather has a business that is easily what is it? That's easily a global type business, because a lot of what you do is digital and it's all virtual. But that's, I mean, that's, yes, it might be quote unquote easier, but even a brick and mortar can expand their reach outside of, like you said, their 5 mile or 10 mile radius easily. I mean, Ninong's is a great example. Like, at one point I was like, well, there are goods that we could ship. So now our reach is within the 50 states. You know, we can ship domestically all the way from like Hawaii all the way to New York. And we have had customers, like I have a customer right now that is asking about rates for Christmas gifts that they want to purchase for their family, and they live in Arkansas.
Yeah, see, and it's like, I mean, even if you will never, even if you'll never ship anything out, you have to, why wouldn't you open yourself up to like people who travel? Like, wouldn't you want to be on like the top 10 restaurant lists of like, you know, places to eat in your area, like if you're visiting, and the only way to do that is to have like a solid online presence.
Right. That's how they
Yeah.
find you.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I think we got like way far into it, but
I know, it's so funny to me. And so that's why it's just so funny that all of this is all happening at the same time. It's the timing of it all that's like, any one of these factors happened before now, it would have just totally hit me differently. But it was just like, this program to this client, to this conversation, to this, to this, to this, where I'm just like, this is funny.
Yeah, I get you.
Anyway, point. I will upload a vlog about the business plan. Oh man. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be great. I'm excited to see that. I would love to see the vlog before I even read it, because I think that will just create more layers that are really necessary and very interesting to see, that other people that have created a business plan for themselves don't have the opportunity to do. So I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, I don't really know how to explain it, but my project with Stephanie, to me, is going really well. And, our collaboration is also a big reason why I'm having these thoughts, because, obviously I'm new to the Coachella Valley. She's been here forever. So when she posted it on her Facebook, it was like a completely different story. And reaction and all of these things, to me, for better, because it's really, it's just been a great opportunity to work with her, because that has been the fastest way to kind of get my name out there.
Yeah.
Like right away. But also now it's, for my 12-week year, it's like, I'd love to get 3 more similar types of projects and I'd be like so set. Like set. I would like stop everything else and just like maybe redo 022 Hero for 2019. And those would be the only 2 things that my priority then would shift to like saving money and thinking about my creator space, and just starting to like, okay, maybe to working with a bank or, a lender or something, just be like, what do I need? Where do I have to be to open this space? Like, it would just accelerate everything. So
Right. Well, when you do get to that point, let me know, because I'm currently working with someone to land an SBA loan for the restaurant. Yeah, it's
the whole
complicated.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, luckily I'm going through this business plan thing, because I know that's part of it. So I'll have this experience,
Yes and no. I mean, if by the time you end up wanting or being ready for the funding, you're like past 5 years, they don't even ask for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is just financial projections.
Yeah, pretty much. Not even projections. They want to see like
Oh, like your tax
tax
returns.
returns. Yep. Yeah, but anyway, when you're ready,
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
we could get there. We're in the middle of that, or we just started the process right now. But granted, we've been in business for 10 years. So,
Right.
like I said, once you pass the 5-year mark, the requirements for a loan are very, very different compared to when you're first starting. It's a different process, and that's something I had no idea about because up to this point, what we've been doing is just like taking out personal loans, and then if we needed them, and then using, like using our wages to pay those loans back, because we weren't getting approved for loans, period. When your business is like very, very new, they're gonna want you to personally vet for those loans,
Right.
obviously, because you're a newbie. And once you pass that 5-year mark, they could kind of consider like, oh, okay, 5 years, that's pretty viable at that point. Just because you need the extra capital doesn't mean you're gonna go under or anything like that. But yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
So, but I think that it's interesting to me also, just as an observation, to see you have like two perspectives, because now you're working with um someone that is local to the Coachella Valley, that like does see value in what you're doing, and like is very not observant, but is they're open to it. They're open-minded and they like the idea of what you're doing. And having Steffi like doing this is great, but I'm very curious to see what kind of clients you land outside of her, because yeah, I mean, obviously that would be great because financially it's gonna set you like in a good place, on a good, on a good track. But you know, I'd love to see the process of you, because not everyone's going to be able to wrap their head around it like she did, or she is currently doing.
Exactly.
So I'm very like that. I think is going to be very interesting as far as your vlog goes, to see if it would be something you'd be willing to document on your process of educating people that do need the service, that might not necessarily get it, but know its value. That I'm very interested in.
Me too. And it's funny that you say that because for sure Stephanie was, I mean, it was a perfect fit because she is a creative agency. She's her whole career has been marketing. So she completely admitted from the get-go that YouTube and video was not her forte, but being in the space, she knew its value. I didn't have to sell her on it. She just was like, I know what I want. I see that you can do that. Let's make it happen. And it's been so great for her to, because she's so connected and, she's putting it out there and stuff like that. Now seeing how this happened and being able to look back and compare to like my other client projects and other prospective client projects that are like on my radar, I think it's easier now for me to say no, because like what I used to do is like people kind of knew what I did. Social media marketing, she's a tech person, video, and this is the idea that they have. So it's like they would make me fit their thing. And I would, of course, would say yes because I needed the money. And now it's so fun to do Stephanie's vlogs. Like I genuinely look forward to it and enjoy it. It's fun, whereas I've had client projects that aren't so fun, but it was like I said yes because I can do it, sure. But I need the money. And now I'm just like, I'm not willing to compromise anymore. So, which is cool. And then that's why, after this business plan, like I really want to get back into daily vlogging to take my, I don't know what the hell is holding me back from documenting everything, but forcing myself to do it daily takes out all the worry. And it's just like I have to upload something and just talk about whatever. And at least that'll help me to be like, to document that growth to getting another one and hopefully another one and seeing where it goes. But right now I have no idea. So like even here, like in this marketing plan, it's like, who's your target market? I really have no idea. I still don't know. I've narrowed it down to business owners because I'm just thinking Gary V. I'm D-Rock, Gary V. Stephanie may have been a unicorn because she's the founder of a creative agency, but I think like even in just her network and her promoting the vlogs that we're doing together, I feel like there should be at least one other person, and then maybe they have another network, and that's how it ends up going, is just word of mouth.
Yeah.
But people have told me like retirees who have stories to share and the freaking budget to pay for it, they're all coming here in the next month or two because it's season.
Right.
And they're like moving back to their second home because, it's snowing everywhere else. So,
well, I mean, this going into like what you're talking about when it comes to target market, I don't think there's anything wrong with having different target markets for different services. And I could totally see that being a viable target market for you for that particular service. Yeah, especially someone, or if it is someone that is definitely seeing the absolute need of what you're providing. Like if you want to be a D-Rock for someone, or then it's got to be someone that one can pay the rate, which doesn't necessarily put them into that demographic, but anyone younger might want to pursue it themselves and not have someone, or who might be another target market is maybe people that have tried but need a camera person because they've grown enough to just kind of say, okay, I do kind of have a following, but I don't want to have the camera in my hand. I want someone to be able to follow me. And I think that is
those people don't exist in the Coachella Valley.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Local to you, that's probably not going to happen. So it depends on how far you want to take this, because D-Rock travels with Gary V. How far are you willing to go with that type of service? Is that an ideal for you, or do you want to stay local? I can imagine, and I don't want to assume, but I can imagine that you would want to try to stay as local as possible.
Yeah, totally. But so see, that's my thing, is that's kind of the limbo where I'm at right now is, for what I'm doing for Stephanie, I'm definitely hyper targeting Coachella Valley, like people here. But in the business plan, I say I have zero competition. There's no one else doing what I'm doing here. Nobody. But that also means that there is a lack of understanding because there's no market demand. I mean, do people, are they so old school and far in their thinking and like have not seen a demonstration of this working that they don't understand it? Because like, one of the things that I've learned through this class is you want to target people that kind of already get it. Yes, there's always going to be that aspect of educating and like, this is the value of it, but it shouldn't be like pulling teeth. People should be, it should be a service they're seeking out already.
Right.
And if that doesn't exist here, then that's going to be really interesting to see. I feel like there's enough though, just in my conversations. The problem is like you said, finding that budget because like there's plenty of people who want to start a YouTube channel. One person has had the budget. So
yeah. See, that I think that's one thing that when you go into your marketing plan, you have to consider, you know what I mean? Because when you talk about target market, a lot of it is geographic. If you're going to be that specific, because now you have the broader target market, entrepreneurs, right? And then you're trying to dial it down and you're trying to stick with the Coachella Valley. So that puts you like right here. And then when you start thinking about your geographic area, because you've narrowed it down to that, you have to figure out if your price point will work, you know. um all those factors go into marketing. That either means that, one, you have to invest time to educate and show your worth, or you pivot, and you kind of say, okay, what can I do to land those clients? Does that mean I have to lower the price point, or do I have to maybe create a few more options? Or am I going to put in the time and show them my value and invest my time so that I can get that return that I want in the long run?
Yeah, exactly. So, so that's my, that's part of the 12-week year goal for me, is like, whatever I'm doing is working. I just have to stick it out, because, I feel like, um, I made the announcement, okay, I'm working with Stephanie, to my people. I haven't even really officially done it on like Facebook or LinkedIn. Well, LinkedIn I did, but on Facebook I haven't done it yet, because I want to like make clips and kind of show people. Stephanie's announced it to her people. Um, but the one thing that hasn't happened yet that I'm really banking on is like the search optimization. Because for her, it's like, I don't know why, but it's been so easy to rank every single video, like every single one.
Good for
And
her.
the search is already coming in.
Yeah.
And for her, I think she has a more new school way of approaching business, just because she's digital marketing. But also, I think she's going to be very surprised when she starts to have a following of people that are not in California. And when you start, I really think that, we're on a contract. I'm confident I can make that happen before the contract is done. And then that'll be really interesting, because, everything she says is going to change, in terms of like the value it's giving her.
Right.
Because right now it's a promotional thing. This is what
Yes.
she does. She's CEO, she's rocking it. But when you, make that impact on, I mean, you've even seen this on your channel, it's like you're helping people organize their lives. It's like, that's cool that you can do that, And when it goes beyond like what you were originally thinking you were going to get out of it, I think that's when it's going to be really telling. So basically for me, my goal is to just keep doing what I'm doing, stick it out, rank every single freaking video, and just see what happens.
Yeah. I think that's a great strategy, especially because of what you said. I think that, I do have to say, like, it, for her, she's a great first client, because for one, she has so much value in her, I don't want to say content, but just in her expertise and what she's learned and her willingness to give. A lot of people would be like, no, I'm not going to vlog that, because that in itself is a paid seminar that I could like easily charge for. And the fact that she's willing to give it for free is very, very valuable as far as you go, because it's the perspective that you want in a client.
The other thing that I didn't even think about, which is definitely something I need to be more aware of, especially here in the Coachella Valley with an older demographic, is yes, she's willing to give out the content for free. I think here, because people are older, they are used to teaching, because the older generation is the one who teaches the younger. And I think that's just more ingrained in them.
Yeah.
The thing that is not is their vanity. Like, the reaction that she got from her first vlog, did I tell you this?
No.
The reaction she got from her first vlog where she was at the hair salon.
Oh, yes, you did. Yeah.
Was like, you're so brave, know? And I'm like, what? Obviously, these are not, I have looked like absolute crap on this YouTube channel. So it's not, there's a bit of vanity, of course. Like I'm always going to sit towards this way because it's my good side. Like, you know, there's those things, but it's never going to stop me. So to have somebody who's willing to put that aside, you know, so when we're talking about like, okay, entrepreneurs, Coachella Valley has the budget, but is also, you know, and is willing to like teach, give back, whatever, provide value, and is also willing to put their vanity aside. Woo!
There you go. You're starting to chip away at your target market.
There's, you know, that's the thing is like, I don't know how to target the target market. So I think like what I'm doing, hopefully will eventually just get to them. But
here, I feel like you are, like, you might not have like a written down strategy, but I think you kind of are doing it because you're talking about it right now on your YouTube channel and we're live, you know, like
right.
You're talking about who you want. And I think if you put out more content that helps to speak to those people, maybe talking about how important putting your pride and vanity aside to be able to do this is a topic that you want to share, because it's so true. There's so many times I want to record a video and I'm like, oh, but I look like crap. Or, you know, like I'm sick today. I'm not going to sound great. You know, it's so easy to just be unreal and like you want to do it on a day where you look better or you feel better or whatever it is. But that's not real life. And the people that you do want to reach are the people that are ready to show real life. This has always been part of your target market. You want to tell an authentic story, whether it's you telling that story of your own life or you telling someone else's story. Those people always have to be the type that are willing to be truthful with what their situation is, you know, and that goes with vanity, that goes with pride. And those people have to be willing to like put that aside so that they can reach people in a really real way so that they can see results, you know?
Yep. Exactly. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. So, I think that's just the premise for like the vlog, you know, because I had, you know, the last thing I remember uploading was just like this, I'm in the thick of this business program, you know, but I've been like, because what was the last week you told me, you know, I was like, I don't know what to vlog about anymore. And you were like, oh, well, remember why you started in the first place. It's like, there wasn't anybody watching. You did it for yourself. You were having fun, da-di-da-di-da.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, it's kind of going to be like a mix of that. So I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
But anyway, enough about me. What's up with you, man?
Okay, let's see. So, something I've observed about myself in the last few weeks, or maybe the last few months, is just I feel like a newbie entrepreneur right now. Like I feel like how I felt when I first started my first business. I'm kind of in this place where I feel like I've just got to go back to.
What makes you say that?
Huh?
What makes you say that? Like, what is making you feel that way?
For one, I think it's not everything, but it's mostly financially. With just, I think with how our old restaurant was, we were in a place where everything just ran like clockwork. There was processes in place. There was, I knew what our budget was. I knew how much we had to have in sales. I knew how many staff members we needed on a particular day, that type of thing. And I don't know. I think I just thought that because it worked moving into the new place, it was going to be almost the same, you know, because having so many years of experience under your belt, you just kind of think like, okay, it's just a geographic move. And then there are a few things that you're going to have to tweak here and there. But I didn't realize that it was basically going to be like starting over. Almost. It's almost like starting over.
So, I just want to remind you that this to me is just you leveling up. It's you getting to the next level. And yeah, you were on your A game at your other location, but like that's it. You're capped. You know, you were capped and you could not like unlock the next part of the map until you physically move to another part of the map. You know what I mean? So you know, I think it's just, I think it hasn't even been like 2 months, right? October?
Of what?
When did you move here or there?
January.
No, I'm thinking your anniversary.
Yeah. I was like, girl, we've been there since January. But you know what it is? Honestly, it's not that it's just, I think what it was is you're so used to living a certain way because you feel like you've got the ball rolling already that you just kind of expect the ball to keep rolling, you know? And then when you level up or you're trying to grow something, you have to realize that it's not necessary. Okay, maybe saying starting over is the wrong words, but it's, yes, you have to remember that you're going to take 10 steps forward only to take 9 steps back, but it's still one step net forward. You know what I mean? And I think that what I was just hoping for, I guess, was just that it would just keep rolling. I wouldn't have to take those 9 steps back. I think everyone just kind of hopes that that's what's going to happen, but it's not, you know, and that's the idea of entrepreneurship. That's like, you sacrifice something so that you could grow something. I think that I don't even think that's entrepreneurship in general. I think that's just life.
Right.
With everything, there's a give and there's a take. And right now, where we're at with the business is it is still growing. We're still on the up and up. But like I said, it's taking 10 steps forward and then taking 9 steps back. And it's it hasn't taken a toll on me, I'd say, thankfully, because I think I'm seasoned enough as an entrepreneur to know that this is just how it is. And I think I've told you that before, where, you know, if you're the type that consistently wants to push and you're never going to just be okay with being mediocre or having enough, there's always going to be these ebbs and flows of business. And right now we're just in that place where financials are tight and we have to figure out where money is going to go, and we have to prioritize things because we're in that like low of it. And we're still getting by, but it's not the way that we were living before, where it was so comfortable and it was so easy because we made this conscious choice to grow. We made a choice that, like you said, we reached our cap, and are we going to just be okay with that cap and continue, or are we going to try and push? And we decided to push. And I don't regret that decision one bit. I know that it was the right decision because I gave it time. I thought about it. I talked to the other business partners about it, and we all were we were in agreement that that's what we were going to do. But then there's also reality, and knowing that like there's consequences to that decision. It can't always be like, oh, okay, we leveled up, it's going to be great all the time. Like, this is right now where we're like, okay, we're down to our last dollar. We've got to like really budget, which is a learning lesson for me because I should have been doing that from the beginning. You know, I knew, but what did I do? I got stuck in my ways from before. And so I wasn't as careful with our money. I wasn't as careful with our budget. And now I'm learning the hard way that I've got to reevaluate. I've got to rebudget everything. I've got to look at our current state compared to our old state and figure it out like I did previously, so that's why I say that I kind of feel like I'm starting over, because this year was like a big year of like growth. I
Yeah.
think I can't even remember. I've already forgot, but I think my word for 2018 was like forward or something like that. And that definitely is what I did this year, but it's going back to saying, okay, well, the reality is, yes, we're moving forward, but it's not quite enough. So we need to figure out what we can do personally and on the business side to make up for that. And that is where I feel like such a newbie entrepreneur, because I'm back to like having to hustle and having to like really challenge myself to think outside of our current box, because our current box clearly isn't enough. So it's forcing me to kind of go, okay, where else? And this is something that I think is really cool to share on here. When you get into these places where you feel like you're backed into a corner, you could decide to either just keep going and hope for the best, or try and think of what you could do with the resources that you already have. Because when you don't have any money to invest in your business, you've got to figure out how to make what you already have work for you tenfold, right? So that's what I have been forced to do in this situation. I can't just keep saying, oh, I'm going to rely on social media marketing, and I'm going to rely on people that dine in and want to walk into the store to eat. If we're not making enough money off of that, then I've got to figure out what I can do to supplement the deficit, right?
Yep.
And I've got to be creative about it. I've got to like think in a different way, instead of just throwing dollars at something that I feel like might not work, because I don't have the dollars to throw at it. I have no budget right now for Facebook marketing or ad marketing. Like I don't have $50 a week to spend on that.
I do want to say, I one of the things I admire about you, and why I'm still constantly looking up to you, is because you are seasoned, because you're still doing this, and you're still so aware of the ebbs and flows, and that you don't complain. And I don't think you give yourself enough credit for that. Obviously, who knows what happens when you're not talking to me right now, but like, because I know I break down and stuff like that. But I think, especially because nowadays there are so many freaking options on how to do marketing. You know, it's so, I think it's just important to recognize, like, you do have two options. You could just hope for the best and keep doing what you're doing, which is insanity. You could try to innovate, do something different, get as creative as possible with the resources that you have, or complain. And I don't think we're the complaining type, and we never have been. Of course, we need to rant and vent. But I think that's what has gotten you to survive this long, like even through a recession, is because you're just constantly innovating.
Thank you.
Like, just,
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think that one thing I have learned is that complaining, like you said, there are moments where I'm like, dude, I need to vent. Like I really need to vent. But most of the time I'm like, once I let it out, what's it gonna do by me harboring it? It's only gonna hurt me. It's only going to make things worse, compared to just saying, okay, I'm going to let all the emotions flood in. I'm going to have a good cry, and then I'm going to hit the ground running. And I think that a lot of people think that hitting the ground running requires money, or it requires an additional investment. And when you're, like I said, when you're pushed up against a wall and you don't have that money to give, you've got to be creative. And in the moments like these, I always know that as hard as it is, it's just, that's reality. Like it's there's going to be moments where you're going to have so much and you're going to be doing great, and then you're going to get complacent because really you're comfortable where you are and you're excited about it and you're just thinking about how good your life is going. But are you going to push forward like you would if you were like up against a wall and didn't know what to do? Probably not. You're probably not going to. And that's why I'm grateful for these moments, because now it might. I mean, I can't even say, I don't want to be like, oh, this is definitely going to propel us forward and it's going to give us a great year. But I feel like in my own gut that it will, because I'm at a wall where I have no budget, like I just don't have a budget. So I can only do what I'm currently doing on a shoestring budget. And I have to figure out how I could grow my business without growing my expenses. And that's the challenge, right? And to me, that's fun. That's a fun thing because it makes me go out and just kind of, I let it marinate for a little while and I figure out what can I do on the cheap to make my business grow. And because of that, I've thought of some ideas, like
Awesome.
if customers aren't coming in, let's go to them. Let's offer catering. Let's offer like doing pancakes like right in front of their face at their house. That requires nothing unless they book me to pay and pay, then I'll go. Same thing with like venue rentals. I have a huge space now that I could rent out for events. That's not going to cost me anything unless someone books it, compared to how it is with a restaurant where you're just sitting there hoping for a customer to walk in. And that has been something that's always been on my radar. I've wanted to do. I just never put the pricing together. I never thought about how I was going to implement it or do it because I was comfortable for this amount of time. And now that I'm being pushed and I'm starting to like, the financials are starting to dwindle and it's not where we need to be at this new location and we need to add sales somehow. It has inspired me to
Innovation.
want to really push it. And I should have been, like I said, I should have been doing it prior to, but now I have to. And it's really made me do the research. I had to put time into it. And now I'm starting to see more and more people coming in for catering.
Good.
I'm starting to get some leads on people that are interested in renting out the space. And imagine how it would be if I actually put a marketing plan behind it. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that I had in the back of my head, but never really did because I was complacent. I was comfortable. I was okay with where we were, So now I'm kind of in that place, like I said, where I feel like I'm starting over. I'm kind of starting fresh because catering is something that we kind of do here and there. My mom used to do it a lot because she was the one that knew how to cook and like she loved doing that. But I never advertised it because my sole focus was to get people through the door. That was my specialty. And so now I'm like, okay, we have that following where people are coming through the door, but our expenses have now gone up. So now that process is in place, I've got to learn a new process. I've got to add something to our table, and it doesn't cost us anything extra because we already have an audience that we've built on social media. We have a small but growing like newsletter list, and all we need to do is put it out there, tell people that we're doing it, and not expect it to happen overnight. Like we've got to nurture it, we've got to give it time, and we've got to just continue to let people know that it's something that we're going to start offering, even though we've been offering it for such a long time already,
Right. I was listening to this podcast where it was like how to increase your revenue. And it was like, okay, obviously get new customers. I think it was like how to get 15% more revenue. So you can get new customers or you can offer new services to your existing customers. Which
Right.
if you haven't done that, then that's basically a completely new market.
Yep.
Like you have no idea. Like what if what if that ends up becoming a thing? Like a significant thing,
Yeah, exactly. I think that when we were talking last month, when it was our 10, it was after our 10-year, and you were asking how it was going, and people were asking me, so what's the next step for Ninongs? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just happy that we hit 10 years. That in itself, you start thinking about your 5-year plan, you start thinking about your 10-year plan as a business, and then that kind of, it ends right there. Like, it's kind of like graduating, and it's the first day of graduation. You don't have class, you don't have anything to study for, you have no job lined up yet, and you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know what to do now. That's kind of how I felt. But as that came along, I was like, but that can't last forever. I can't not know for that long. And I'm getting forced financially to like come up with the next steps. And for me, my criteria was, we already don't have we don't have enough, so I don't have money that I can invest into something else. So that criteria number 1 was, it has to be low expenditure. And then number 2 was, because of that, I also can't throw labor dollars into it as well. Like, I don't want to have to hire more people to do something, because that's just going to increase my expenditures in the long run, even if it means that I'm getting sales. So I had to let that kind of sink in, and I had to kind of be like, okay, well, if those are the criteria, man, that really limits me onto what I can do or what I can offer. And it made me like put everything on the table and go, okay, what can I do that will require very little money? And those answers became very apparent once I like laid it all down, and I was like, all right, catering and special events, perfect. And people have parties all the time, whether it's at another location or at their house. Everyone needs food. They're either going
to
order it from someone, or they're going to make it themselves. So I should be putting it out there. I have an audience, in like a large enough audience in that regard, to at least start planting the seeds in their head that we could do it, and then from there, just grow it.
I don't know if, you've thought about this or not, but like, have you tried connecting with local networking groups? Because like, for example, I don't know if you've heard of BNI. They're like I think they're nationwide, but they're like a Toastmasters networking group that meets every week. And they meet at a restaurant typically. So it's like, for breakfast usually.
Right. I have, aside from our local chamber, I have not. And that's something that I do need to be better at. I don't know of any other organizations really that I could do. Like, all we've been doing to kind of get the catering like started and the ball rolling is like influencers that are like doing video shoots or whatever. I work with them, and then we're able to take photos, we post it up, and then it's just kind of a win-win for everyone. But yeah, I'm open to whatever ideas.
Because there's one guy who I see almost like at every single networking event, but he does catering, and he's like the only guy. This is the Coachella Valley, so there's like very, there's not that many businesses, but how would you know? It might be like you might be the only person.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I'm especially if it's something like that where all I need to do is go out there and meet people. That's so easy. Like, that's all that takes is my time. That doesn't really cost me anything, as long as it's on a day that I don't have to have someone cover me,
You could check Meetup, because that's where I go for networking groups, and you'll see they'll all be there. Toastmasters, BNI, yeah, like even the even the chamber. I'm sure there's like they have meetings where they have to gather around coffee.
Yeah, they do. Actually, I don't have I want to join the Northridge Chamber. I do have to say, like, I've been wanting to go check out like one of their events, but it obviously costs me because I'm not a member to be able to go. And I don't have the money to pay for a membership right now. But it is something that's on my list because one of my like mentors in real estate, he's part of the Northridge Chamber of Commerce, and he's been a longtime member. So at least I have one familiar face there that I know, but it's definitely been on my list just to be more involved in our community, whether that turns into immediate change or not. I think that's just something that I'm passionate about, period. So it's on my list. But yeah, I just don't have the money for membership or anything right now. But I definitely want to check up. Is it meetup.com?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I've just never looked into it. So
really? Oh my God. I've been on Meetup. Like I've met friends off of Meetup just because I used it mostly as a friend finder. But when I moved here, it was just like networking / friends. But yeah, I'm just curious. I'm curious to see what you would find in Northridge.
Yeah.
But it was crazy popping in Long Beach. I mean, there's meetups every day, everywhere, in a 10-mile radius. Here, there's a lot too, which tells me like there's no shortage. There's not going to be any shortage of opportunities, I think, for you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do that today. I'll go on there and check it out. I've heard of Meetup, but I've never gone like onto the website even just to check it out. But yeah, that's just kind of where we're at as far as the restaurant goes. I think too, just on the personal side, like, for my personal brand, I think that like there's this, I don't know, there's this like shift that's happening for me personally in a good way, in a really good way. I think I'm settling more into just who I am and what I want out of life, and just kind of and that transcends into like my personal business and like what that means. And I think that it's just a matter of me like honing in on those things and turning it into business opportunity. Coaching is definitely on the top of my list still. I actually do have this opportunity to like coach someone, and it is like one of my friends. And I'm going to kind of use him as my guinea pig to put my curriculum and like all of my stuff together. And I think it's like perfect timing because he's been wanting to start a business for a really long time. And I guess he just is finally at the place where he's ready. And I think it's all just like perfect timing
That's awesome
for us to kind of like link up, because hopefully I'll be able to teach him and show him the things that he needs to like get started. And then it'll create templates for me for future clients. Instead of me just kind of thinking about the process, the fact that I can like use it on someone will definitely be much, much better. So yeah, that's kind of where it's going. I've kind of been waiting for him to like message me, but I told myself I would take the initiative and just kind of reach out to him and just be like, hey, if we could get this started before the new year, that would be awesome. Just so that I feel more like in place, so that I have the content that I need to put onto my website, type of thing. So yeah. And then the rest is just keeping life together and making sure things don't unravel and we're not falling apart.
Oh, I get it, dude. So get it. I haven't been able to sleep this week because I think I'm nervous, because whenever Tom has a day off, I don't know why my brain does this. I really don't want it to happen, but it just happens where my brain takes a day off too. And he has all of next week off. And so I'm like trying to brace myself like, yo, dude, you cannot take a whole week off. I don't care. Like, you can't. So Oh my goodness.
You know, that just goes with the territory of being in a relationship.
Yeah, dude. It's so, this is stuff I never thought about.
Yeah. I mean, your significant other, sorry, hold on. My significant other is texting me right now. Having a significant other changes everything. It's just you've got to accept the fact that like you're almost like one and the same. So if the other person isn't, because for one, you already need and crave quality time with each other. If you're going to be in a relationship, you've got to invest time, and that means you're sacrificing time in other things, you know. And um I I think just you just got to be ready to be like, you know, then I'm just going to take a week off. Unless he
I
just is in the
can't.
mood to like work on a particular day, you've either got to convince him to be like, hey, like, can you like you help me? I think I don't know if it's just us, we're similar in that case, but I totally feel you. Like when Charlie and I had separate jobs and we weren't working in the same place, when he would come home, I'm done. Even if I had a long list of stuff. I don't know if it's just because you and I are very similar in that way, but I feel like a lot of people feel that way too. Even when we're like, you know, because like Charlie and I work in an office, you know, like outside of our house, when we come home, if he's not motivated to work, I'm not motivated to work either. Even though I say when I get home, I'm going to walk into my office, close the door, and I'm going to do it. I don't if I see him sitting on the couch because I want to do that too. You know?
Sure. It's like, it's not even laziness, it's just like, it's like you said, obviously we naturally crave to just hang out, so, and it's, I think, even worse for me because I work at home.
Yeah.
So it's like, when he's home, it's a different home. It's like home.
Yes. Yeah. I totally.
Because when he's gone, oh shoot, I'm on it,
Yeah.
But anyway, point is, my homework for him today was to put together a list of stuff that no matter what I have to get done in the next week, because like obviously I'm not going to work on Thanksgiving and stuff like that. I'm obviously going to take time off, but yeah, it's the same thing where like he'll edit a vlog just so I can be in the same like mindset of like, okay, he's working, I can work too.
Yeah, exactly. I think there have been times too where like Charlie, he knows I have a lot of work to do, and Charlie will be like, okay, how about we go to a cafe?
Yeah.
And then we'll work so that you'll work. Because if I tell him like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and then it's Monday, which is our normal day off, but I need to do it, Lord help us all. Like it's just probably not gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. So funny. But hey, we recognize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're taking steps.
That's what I'm saying. Like if he's off, you just gotta be like, hey, can you do something so that I can get motivated to do something too? Hey, that's just how it is.
What can I say? I know. I mean, I have told him about we gotta go to Starbucks. Like, can we go to Starbucks? So like my mind is like, okay, it's work time.
Yeah.
We haven't done that yet, but yeah. I mean, at the very least, I want to meet my goals, or at least aim to achieve to meet them. But I also know that when, Thanksgiving especially, or the holidays, like everyone is off. So that's my chance to get ahead.
Yeah.
Like I want to remember that,
Yeah, I get you. That being said, are you coming to the Valley for Thanksgiving at all, or is your family going to you? Like, what are you guys doing?
No, we are gonna hang out with Tom's parents actually. So Christmas we'll do the Valley, which will totally meet up with you for sure.
Oh yeah,
I need to take Tom to Ninong's like at some point. So yeah, we'll do that. But yeah. So
okay. Well, that's cool. That sounds fun. I am sure that like you just remember, you gotta you just gotta at one point be like, it's Thanksgiving. I'm just not gonna work. Like I know it's great to like hopefully catch up because when people aren't working, you can grind and like do all that. But if the reality is you're not going to, then you're not going to,
Yeah. I want to set something realistic. So like I'm not gonna put in an 8-hour day. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen. But if I put in like, 3.5 hour days, that's good. Like that's solid.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to try to do.
Yeah. That's fair. I think for me personally next week, Are
you guys busy?
Huh?
Are you busy? Is busy?
We're actually closed on Thanksgiving and Black Friday. We always are. And then the day before Thanksgiving, we're half day. So we're only open for breakfast. But we tend to be busy enough where like what we'll do in those 5 hours is what we would normally do in one day.
Oh, wow.
So we're, it's good enough. And then, yeah, like I said, we're closed Thursday and Friday, and then we open back up on Saturday. But I usually, because it goes by so quickly, I always say that I'm going to work, I'm going to do this, but like on Wednesday we have Friendsgiving and then we're half day at the restaurant and we're busy enough where I'm not able to sit in front of my laptop at work. So I'm going to be like just in the dining room helping customers, and then we have Friendsgiving that same day. So nothing's going to get done then. And then for sure Thursday is a day because like I have my family's Thanksgiving and then we have Charlie's family. So we split the day on that too. And then we do a potluck. So we're making stuff and,
So
yeah,
busy.
like that's not going to happen. Like work isn't going to happen either. And then Friday is probably the most realistic day where I can actually get something done. But truth be told, I think that's just for me, my goal is to rest, but productively rest. So I want to like read a book. I want to, like I don't want to do actual work. I want to do productive rest.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do before I have to go back to work on Saturday, because obviously the weekends are always really busy. We're not typically that busy the Saturday of after Thanksgiving because there are still Friendsgivings going on. People have leftovers and stuff like that. But I still have to show up, to work. So I don't want to like put too much on my plate. That being said, my 30-day blog challenge did not happen.
Dude, it's all good, man.
But yeah, like you said, like I don't care. It's honestly, I just want to keep blogging. I don't want like if I'm at that place right now where having the discipline to do it every single day is not going to happen, then it's just not going to happen. It's fine.
Yeah, because it's the same way with my vlog, because I know now that like the vlog is not going to correlate with increased sales, period. Like I can confidently say that.
Yeah.
Especially now, because like Stephanie doesn't care. She, it wasn't like, when was the last time you uploaded, Heather? There's enough content on my channel where it speaks, what I do. But it's something we both enjoy. Like you like blogging, I like vlogging, and so if we have the time and we're motivated to do it, then do it, because it's like we're not going to regret that we did it.
Right.
But also I'm not going to stress out about doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's not like there's if I truly believe there's better things to do, there probably are.
Yeah. And that just goes with the whole done is better than perfect thing. It's like you do what you can and you just have to prioritize. And if that's not in the priority, then it's just not, and if you want to make time for something, you will make time for it. And if you don't, then no hard feelings. It doesn't mean that you care about it any less. It's just the reality of where you're at, and your time and your focus needs to be put on something else at the moment. And that's my scenario. So the 30-day blog challenge didn't happen, but I'm still writing. I'm not necessarily posting all the time. But I do have like a small backlog of things that I've written, and I think it's just about like timing of when I want to post those things, because just like anything, there's a strategy behind it. You want to make sure all of it makes sense with like kind of what you're doing and what's going on and all that. So yeah, it's just what it is. It's totally fine. No pressure on me. I'm fine about the fact that I didn't do it. Whatever.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. I like our approach.
Yeah. That no pressure approach.
Yeah, dude. Because I swear to God, the stress is so self-inflicted.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially on a challenge, that's just on you, man. Like I put that on myself. Like no one challenged me to do it. It's not like someone challenged me to a duel or anything. It's like that's something that I created in my own head. And if I fail, I failed in my own head. I didn't fail anybody but myself, you know, and it's not
it's
a
all
life or
good.
death situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, which by the way, I don't know why this popped into my head because it's actually not related. So I don't know why I said by the way, but Charlie told me about this idea he had for you, which was really funny for a podcast, but I'll tell you about that later.
Okay, cool. I'd love to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't even know how long we've been on. Thanks for, I don't know, there's like always people here.
I know.
I'm like, what do you guys get out of this? Anyway, if you're watching or you catch the replay, give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for tuning in. Why don't we take the day off next week? Carissa?
Yeah. That sounds good.
We deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. So we will catch you on Friday.
It's going to be December, I think.
The 30th.
Oh, it's going to be the 30th. Whew, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's make stuff happen. Let's enjoy the holiday and get ready for the last month.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe that.
I know, dude.
So fast.
All right. Well, we will catch you guys later. And, you know, Chris's blog and website are in the description underneath this video. You can also catch us on Twitter. I'm HeatherJustCreate. Chris is just Kissa. And we will see you soon. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Bye.
Bye.